What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Bye Bye Earth, Season 2, Episode 6. So in this one, Guinness tells Belle she can basically fight however she wants, but Belle decides to stay with, their whole little group. So the whole group is like attacked by this zombie mermaid that can use ice, but Bennett defeats the zombie. Then some then basically some more zombies attack this other zombie attacks him. With these there's like these soldiers that are being controlled like puppets. Guinness deals with that zombie, and the zombie drops the sword of Adonis's father. Then Bamboo grabs it, runs away. Kitty attacks Bamboo. Then Gaff appears. Basically, he tells Belle's group to surrender. Basically, and he claims to know the god their god's will, and that he plans to stop Adonis. But Belle's group refuses, and Belle and Gaff fight. Belle says that Gaff has not had a proper conversation with his sword, and Gaff loses the will to fight. So Belle, they all, her group, they all go further into the tree. They find this area that screws with most of them. Most of them feel pain. Belle's the only one unaffected. Bamboo appears. Belle kills Bamboo, and Bamboo drops sword. More zombies appear, but Kitty appears and helps wipe out the zombies, and then uses this force field to protect everyone from that whoever spell is being put on, that's weakening them. Then Adonis creates an illusion to trick Bell into breaking his father's sword. And then Belle and Kitty go to confront Adonis and Sherry, while everyone else goes back to the surface. And then Bennett, having some concerns, threatens to shoot Belle because he believes she's very dangerous and could potentially kill God. But Guinness, convinces Bennett to stand down. So Belle and Kay go further in, and Belle says that she'll finally have answers about her origins. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting episode. Just a few fights, then just them going further into it. Like a freaking video game when you're going through the dungeon, each floor of a dungeon. Okay, go through this floor, fights a maze. Go through this area, fights a maze. It was like a freaking dungeon crawl in an old school video game. So the fighting was fine. Things are really picking up. So it looks like a lot of the plot points will be revealed very soon about Belle's backstory, where her potential ties to God. And yeah, so I thought it was an interesting episode. It's kind of whatever. This is an okay series, but I'm interested to how next week continues the story, if it reveals anything regarding Belle's past. So yeah, looking forward to next week. Fire Force Season 3, Episode 6. So in this one, we get to finally see Shinra fight Burns. You know, we see all their power ups. We see Burns his entire body basically get covered in fire. Some point his face kind of looks like a lion. The way the flames are arranged, and then Shinra keeps going faster, his flames turn blue, which is the hottest color of fire. As anyone who watched Avatar: The Last Airbender or anyone who has taken any astronomy class would know. And so, like Shinra's power ups, are sensed by his brother Suo, well, Sho, where so basically, like, yeah, I mean, like, basically, like, hinting that, Sho potentially helping Shinra. I'm not gonna get into any spoilers, and potentially go into more about what happened with him, with their with all their family. Which, I don't know, that's a crazy story that goes on there. Anyway, so Shinra beats Burns, like basically beats him. And then basically Burns says that Shinra's young, it's his job to like fight against world, but Burns, since he's like an older man, he can only just take what the younger people give him. Like, and he basically felt like duty bound to fight for like the evangelist, even if he knows that there's a chance that what he's doing is wrong. But he's giving like Shinra a chance to fight against him to like prove him wrong. And so yeah, that fight was freaking awesome. Like the Burn Shinra fight that was a great fight. Like it was great in the manga and it was great in this. And so Burns, after he has his little like speech where he gets stabbed by like his doppelganger, which drags him into like Adela or something. So yeah, that whole bit happens, and then outside, Dragon like transforms into like this like demon form, and like shoots this giant fire blast at Company 8, and Maki tries to block it, but she's unable to. And, Iris like prays, and then somehow the fire blast from Dragon doesn't kill all of Company 8. You know, everyone thinks Maki was able to like stop it. Maki's like, wait, we're alive? What? Everyone assumes Maki stopped it, but Victor stares at Iris as like he knows that like Iris did something to stop it. And so like, then well, all the white clad are out there preparing to kill everyone in Company 8 because they found the last, you know, one more pillar. Then this guy appears who identifies himself as Moonlight Mask. Now, we we all know who it is. We all know who Moonlight Mask. We all know it's Benny Maru. Well, let's not. Well, let's not act like it actually hides his identity. We all know. Like anyway, he appears at the end, prepared to help Company 8. So yeah, that should lead into next week into like all like the further fights, because Benny Maru does have some cool fights coming up. So yeah, I really like this episode. That fight was awesome. That fight between Shinra and Burns, that was such a great fight. Like that was awesome. So yeah, I mean, like this episode. Looking forward to next week's Teogonia episode 5. So in this one, uh, basically this inspector comes to the village, and that's why everyone's concerned about setting things up. The chieftain's son asks, why can't he give some more of the food to, I guess, the inspector or to other villages to like curry some favor with them. Chieftain's like, no, we 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 don't want to we don't want to curry too much favor at risk of screwing our people. So chieftain, he prioritizes he puts more priority on his people's safety. The son doesn't seem to understand that. Probably not someone who I would trust with really the tribe if he's prioritizing procuring political favor over protecting his people. Yeah, I'm not gonna trust him. Chieftain seems to know what he's doing. He's like, I know when Lady Jose speaks out of turn, when the inspector is being a prick, because, gosh, that guy's a prick. You know, Chieftain's like, hey, you can't speak out of turn. We gotta we gotta stay in the good graces of the United Kingdom because we do fall under them. He's being a good leader. But Jose is right. Jose's right in being pissed off, but she did speak out of turn. That is something you don't want to do when it comes to people who work for royalty. And so, while it's ago, something happens with Spectre. You know, a lot of stuff happens. I mean, he tries to get some hospitality out of some of the women. Whether or not he got any, I don't know. Doesn't really say, and I don't I don't want to know. I mean, screw that prick. And so, like, basically, so something happens, involving some orgs. So basically, there's a group that's sent out to find orgs. So you have Jose, Kai, Kai's friends, and this priest this monk, whatever, named Nada, who can summon fire. So go around, they come across with like two battle sites between orgs and I think they're called Makakus or Makakus, or whatever the heck they were. Basically, they see a bunch of corpses. And basically, Nana's trying to find clues about this land god. And the land god, this one village they find where all these corpses are at. It's not connected to whichever one he's looking for, but seems to be that a clue could be in the valley that those nomads Kai befriended are at. So Kai, he hasn't revealed anyone the existence of those nomads being there, but he tells Nana, "Hey, I'm gonna scout this area, just to make sure." He's kind of very desperate, so Nada does seem to suspect something. Doesn't say they suspect anything, but he probably does suspect something. So he goes. So Kai starts running. Then the nomads they start getting. The old man is concerned. He learns that some orgs are coming, so it looks like he's prepared to like deal with that. And so it looks like it's setting up a big confrontation next week involving the orgs. And so yeah, that should be interesting. I really like this episode, and I'm looking forward to next week's. Lazarus episode 1 through 4. So this is the sub. So they released a dub in the US on the initial day of release. They didn't release a sub to like pretty recently. I don't know when they released the sub version for the first 4 episodes. I think it may have been this week. Because I know the sub for episode 5 releases next, I believe it's next week. So yeah, why they do that, I don't know. I think it's freaking retarded. That is so freaking retarded. Like with Ninja Kamui and the Rick and Morty anime, they released the sub versions and the dub versions at the same time. Like, for some reason with Lazarus, they decided to do it differently. I don't know why. So they did a simul dub, and the subbed version was released in Japan this initial same day the dub was released in the US. Why the frick could they not just release the sub at the same time? Why? That is so freaking retarded. That is a terrible release plan. Who the frick at Warner Brothers thought that was a good idea? Like, Zaslav should have gone to the guy and to this whoever came out of this told went to this person and say, "Hey, This is the most retarded release strategy. This is one of the most retarded things I've ever seen. I mean, this is more retarded than Netflix's release strategy for Cobra Kai season 6. I mean, so freaking retarded. Just release the sub the same time as the dub, this which is the same, and the same time as Japan gets the sub version, and be done with it. Like, release it. It would really help the ratings. This is made by the same guy that created Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, Samurai Champloo, and a few other stuff. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, really? Like, how retarded are you? I mean, seriously, like, why? Like, it's so freaking retarded. Like, it is so freaking retarded. Like, I don't know what the frick you can say. Like, who came up with this? Who thought this release schedule was a good idea? Seriously, who thought of it? Whoever thought. I mean, there's a lot of people in Hollywood studios that need to be fired. This person needs to possibly be like. Is it the same person who did the release strategy for Ninja Kamui and the Rick and Morty anime? Like, if it's the same person, I want that person to be asked why they decided to change things up. And if it's a different person, fire the prick and bring back the person who did the release strategy for Ninja Kamui and Rick and Morty anime. Because those had, despite their variety and quality, because the Rick and Morty anime is a pile of trash that should never have been made, and Ninja Kamui was actually a decent show. Like, that was actually good. And gosh, you know, what the frick? Like, what the actual frick? Like, you dumb cocksucker. Like, just release it simultaneously with Japan. If you're going to release the English dub simultaneously with Japan, release the subbed version in United States along with Japan as well. If you're going to do that, that is just common sense. That is common freaking sense, especially when every other, you know, every other streaming service that does weekly releases for anime, even Netflix for the stuff they do weekly, they release at the same time, at least same day. Not maybe a few hours difference, but like even Netflix, when they do weekly, they release the subbed version the same time, around the same time Japan does. You don't have to wait like months or whatever. The only time you have to wait months for Netflix is when they're doing the binge model, like what they do with like they would do with Seven Deadly Sins, which that was that was such a dumb thing they did. But the binge model is just freaking retarded from a business standpoint. But anyway, so whoever came up with this release strategy, like they need to get like they need to someone needs to talk to them, ask them what made you think this is a good idea. Like they should change it as soon as possible. Just go ahead, change it. Like they could do that if they have the sub version done. They can change the release schedule right now. If the sub version's already recorded, they could actually change it to I don't like to they could fix it. Like they could change it right now. Like to match the sub release in Japan. They could do that. Like just fix it. Quit being retarded. All right, with all that being said, on with this review. Anyway, so the first four episodes. So in this one, basically these crooks are recruited to find this neuroscientist named Dr. Skinner who made this painkiller called Hapna. You know, basically it was a painkiller, but everyone took it as like a recreational drug. Then basically it's revealed that you know 3 years after the first dose, anyone who used it will be killed. With the first wave of victims, like they'll die like around 30 days after the broadcast about it was revealed. So like Skinner disappeared, but like he did a broadcast that like on his online video where he revealed about the issues. And so this lady named Hirsch recruits this criminal named Axel Gilberto to help her, and basically Alex has Axel has escaped prison a bunch because he finds it fun a hobby to escape prison. Problem is the way it works, I guess in this show is that when you escape prison, this whatever sentence you already had is doubled. So basically, he had like I think it was like almost 900 years worth of prison sentence left because he escaped prison so many times. So Axel escapes again. Then he finds all these other. He's pursued, and then basically Axel he's knocked out by the pursuers, and he wakes up in this barber shop, and Hirsch talks to him through like a webcam. Basically reveals that he's been selected to join her team, which is called Lazarus, and so basically Axel learns that everyone on his team is a criminal is a has issues with law enforcement, and they all have tracking bracelets. That basically kind of like the Suicide Squad will basically I don't think it necessarily blows up, but they'll burn if they try. Well, the bracelets will burn if they try to take them off. So it's not like full on Suicide Squad where they have bombs in their head that'll blow up. And basically, Axel tries to get out of it, but he's not able to. Basically, they start searching for Skinner, retracing his steps, trying to figure out what's going on. Basically, they go to, they find this bunker in Arizona, and they come across like there's a man sitting in a chair, and they don't know who it is, but like basically the squad, there's like this whole firefight involving the FBI, DEA, then all these like Mexican, Russian agents. It's revealed that the site's owner is named Kobayashi, and he's the one who's actually in the chairs. Really, he was hiding Scare's bunker to hide from debt collectors. And then, and so the team for Lazarus, basically, like the team includes, along with Axel, you know, like, uh, Douglas Doug Hadeen, who he's Nigerian, who's like very smart, like very intelligent, physics major in college, and was a fan of Skinner, but not happy about the revelations. And there's a lady named Christine and Chris, who's like basically like she's kind of meant to be like this femme fatale type character. She's Russian, you know, very good with guns and very alcoholic. You know, yeah, Leland, who's this Canadian boy who pilots drones. you know, basically like he doesn't talk a lot about his life because like apparently he has some background he doesn't want to get into too much. One of the things he likes to do is Google himself on the internet just to see what comes up. You have Alina, who's this 15-year-old teenage girl from Hong Kong. Basically, she has trouble talking with other people, but she was like this really good hacker named Mad Streamer. And then basically, yeah. So the team like they're trying to. So Alina, the hacker finds Skinner's location, but learns that the facial recognition tech that she used basically it's not going to help them because like his face has been edited, deep faked onto a bunch of people's bodies. So that's it's not going to help them. And the and basically, Alina's want then they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. And so they then go to Istanbul because basically like they believe they believe that like Doug believes that they could find something there. So reason they go so how they get this lead is that they meet Doug's old teacher Claude Klein who used to work with Skinner. Basically Klein mentions that Skinner I guess talked about his grandmother's baklava. It's like some Turkish dish. So they all go to Istanbul since the grandmother lives in Istanbul, or at least did anyway. So they deal. So basically, Axel Leland go there to try and find find the grandmother, whose name is Belinda. They fight after finding these mobsters, and after a little misunderstanding, they eat some baklava, and it's revealed that Skinner was raised by her when he was a kid because like his parents were dead, and that Belinda says she hasn't talked with him in a while since he became a famous neuroscientist. And Axel finds a hidden camera in the house, and basically he speaks to the camera, says that he's coming after Skinner. It's like a message to Skinner, and so when that happens, they like Elena leads this bait out to figure out which hacker potentially did thought did the deep fake, and their first lead leads them to this guy named Doctor 909. And so Alina tracks Doctor 909 is really working with this investor named Sam Stevenson, who did some insider trading to sell all his Hapna stock before Skinner's announcement. And basically, so 909 had helped Skinner disappear in return for some insider trading about Hapna. So the team tries to find Dr. 909 by going to some club parties, and then basically Lena keeps investigating the money deposits, and they learn that 909's real name, real identity, is this famous DJ named DJ Visionary, who's performing at the party that the team goes to. So here's a whole chase where the team chases Sam and Dr. 909, and they use one. Axel rides on top of one of Leland's drones to catch him. And so it's revealed that neither of those two are connected to Skinner. Basically, it's revealed that how 909 was able to learn about Hapna's true nature was that basically he's hacked a pharmaceutical company named Delta Medicinal, and so it's real that they knew about the issues with Hapna, and it's possible they could have colluded with Skinner. So basically, there's this lab somewhere where all these monkeys are stored in these like little chambers. A monkey dies, and meant to hint that that's meant to hint that the issues with Hapna are real; they're not fake. So yeah, that's it for these 4 episodes. Episode 5 has aired in the dub, but I'm waiting to review that till the sub releases, which is gonna be the 15th of May. Well, 14th or 15th. I don't know. Depends on if if like what I've seen is talking about has to do with like if it's like early enough in Japan to where it's actually releasing the 14th in the US due to like time zone stuff. I think it's the 15th since they're talking about US release. I believe it's 15th. So yeah, I'll watch it and I'll watch the episode 5, you know, then. And so this show for episode titles, it's kind of doing like what Cowboy Bebop did with, using existing song titles. So episode 1 is called Goodbye Cruel World, which is an album by Elvis Costello. And then, it was Costello's ninth album. Second episode is called Life in the Fast Lane, which is a famous Beatles song from their album Hotel California. Very great song and a great album. Third episode is Long Way from Home, which is an EP by the hard rock band Whitesnake. You know, I'm sure we've all heard some Whitesnake song before. Like Here I Go Again. But of course this ain't Here I Go, it's a long way from home. And then, episode 4 is Don't Stop to Dance, which is a song by Brian Ferry from his album Boys and Girls. And so yeah, so that's how it's kind of like how Cowboy Bebop did, interesting way to handle song titles if you're trying to make music be a major plot point. And so yeah, I've enjoyed these episodes. It's not like the greatest thing ever. As far as like, you know, shows that Watanabe has made in his life. This ain't one of like his best ones. This ain't like, Cowboy Bebop level or Samurai Champloo or Space Dandy level. No, I mean, no, it's not. It's a decent show. Not so far. It's not like, it's not, I mean, I don't think anyone's expecting it to be Bebop level. Bebop is one of the greatest shows ever made. It is like, if you're talking about beginners level anime, Cowboy Bebop is the best beginners level anime. It's probably not even close. But Lazarus is a decent show so far. Maybe hopefully it stays good. And yeah, I mean, honestly, there have been a lot of complaints about it. I think a lot of it has to do with the dub, like with the like how dub was like the only all that was available was dub. So I think that's why a lot of people have complaints because I think I've seen people have said that the sub version is better. So which that should go without saying. Of course, the subbed version is better. This isn't like Ghost Stories where there's like an argument. Like Ghost Stories at least has an argument for a dub being better, but for for different reasons. For mostly for some of the jokes they add being like South Park level humor. But anyway, for this, yeah, of course, the sub's better. That's why I waited because I knew the sub was gonna be better. I didn't want to waste my time with the dub. No, no, frick no. And I think Max really hurt the viewership numbers for this by doing their release schedule the way they did. Like I guarantee they hurt it. Like there are people that are gonna forget, they're gonna not watch it because the only version available on the initial release date was the dub. And due to that, when they may not know when the sub releases, they have to look it up. And if they don't know, they may forget because it's gonna be so different and it's gonna hurt their viewership numbers. I mean, simple common sense that would have that would that would have freaking helped them to say someone in the room, whenever they came in the room, should say, "Hey, maybe if we're releasing the dub the same day, we're releasing the English dub in the United States the same day as the Japanese version is released in Japan. Wouldn't it make more sense to release the Japanese version in the US as well that day? Since it's well known, a lot of anime fans prefer sub. Like I would argue it's the vast majority prefer subbed. Did no one in that room think of that? Did no one think to ask? Like, ugh, they really screwed this show by doing that. I mean, they really screwed it. Like, this show's ratings will suffer because of that decision. They need to fix it. They can change it right now. They need to change it. They need to go and say, hey, we're gonna really I mean, I think they aired the dub on Toonami. They don't air the sub because they which that's another issue with that channel. With that channel, like Cartoon Network, that needs to be split into 4 channels. Like one channel should be Cartoon Network. Like that's just your regular Cartoon Network stuff. Like your kids shows and which for a lot of those shows are regular. Most of them suck, but that's besides the point. A lot of the good stuff got moved to Boomerang. Anyway, then you have a channel for Adult Swim so that you can have a lot of those shows could be at prime time slots like Rick and Morty at 8 p.m., which is like prime time. Makes sense from a range standpoint. Then you have your 2 Toonami channels. One Toonami channel for subbed anime and one for dubbed. Get both. Get some anime in primetime slots. Money maker. I mean that is money. Now, when you have cable and you have that, you get money. That is a money maker. I mean, it's so simple. Anyone could. I mean, but yeah. Anyway, that's just a side note. For this, they can change it. They can change it, and they should change the release schedule. People are gonna say, "Oh no, our release schedule is set. We can't change it." Oh crap! Your sub version's already recorded. You can change. Doesn't Yes, you're gonna air the dub on Toonami. We know that. You can still release the sub the morning after, the same time you release the dubbed version on Toonami on Max. We know you can do that. We all know it. Like I know it. You know it. Everyone who keeping up with the show knows it. Your boss Zaslav knows that, and I wonder if he even knows about this that this happened. I wonder if Zaslav knows that this release schedule happened. I want to know if he knows what his reaction is and reaction to how the ratings were negatively affected by it. So I'm sure if he saw how much, like, if he compared Ninja Kamui and the Rick and Morty anime's ratings to this, and how much of an effect this show's release schedule had compared to the rest. Now, Rick and Morty anime, that show sucked. The lack of quality in that show affected that show's ratings. I mean, I don't know how low those were. I think they may have been decent just because it's Rick and Morty. But gosh, that show was bad. It should have even been called anime. But Ninja Kamui, I think it had relatively decent ratings. Like, I don't know the exact numbers. It was kind of low key, but it had good ratings. I think it had decent ratings, and they released a sub the same time as the dubbed. You know, it made sense and it was done. That was done better. But for this, decided to switch it up for whatever reason. And this had more. I think had more marketing than Ninja Kamui. I think this had more because it had Watanabe's name on it, the guy who created Cowboy Bebop. Like, and that, I mean, really, the guy who created Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, Samurai Champloo. That those three shows are good shows. And this guy, the creator's name was on this show. That was a marketing tool they used. And so far, this show is good. The sub, I don't even want to watch the dub because I wouldn't want to watch the dub anyway. But with what I've heard about the dub, I definitely don't want to watch it. So if Zaslav, if he sees it, if he knows, if he learns about what I don't think he knew. I honestly don't think he knew about the release schedule. I mean, honestly, he's not going to know every little detail that goes on at Warner Brothers Discovery. He's not going to know every little detail. No, he has people for that. But whoever does know, whoever is the highest person on totem pole that does know about it and did approve it, there's that person needs to be asked some questions. Like someone, whoever came with this, there's some questions. If I was Zaslav and I learned about this, I'd be calling whoever was involved and say, hey, what the frick are you doing with this release schedule? And I don't care what you have to do, you are fixing it now. And that is not an out. It's like, can we contractually fix this release schedule to put the subbed release the same time we release the dub? And if we cannot contractually do, if we're contractually not able to do that, let's call some people and we'll renegotiate some things. That's what I would do. I would say, if you can fix this right now, fix it right now, or I will find someone who will. But if we can't contractually get these, get me the numbers of Sola, Mappa, whoever. Give me their numbers. Give me their contact information, and I will sell this myself. Am I clear? Like that's how I would handle it. I would not be nice about it. I'd be like, you people screw this show's ratings. Someone needs to fix it. I will fix it myself. Now, Zaslav, this anime, I doubt he will care. He doesn't even care about Looney Tunes. He probably doesn't care about anime. Right, yeah. I mean, if the guy doesn't care about Looney Tunes, one of the greatest IPs ever, he ain't gonna care about this. He ain't gonna care about an anime. But, you know, he probably does care about ratings, so he might care a little bit. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.